Do a quick sound check, yo. You guys hear me okay? Mark's in the house. What's up? Seth, what's up? What's up? What's up? Vincent's in the house. Steve's in the house. Look at y'all, man. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Good morning, 44 Trade Nation. Look, we're starting a little bit early today. I think I might be riding solo today. Justin wasn't feeling the greatest this morning, so hopefully speedy recovery. And if he does decide to join, awesome, we'll welcome him naturally. What a night last night, guys. How many of you guys were at least keeping an eye on earnings last night? Anybody? I hope so. If we are in this business, you got to be keeping an eye on stuff like last night, and we have more to come next week. Yep, Christian, yep, Mark, yep. And Christian, honestly, I never got a chance. We should do that, the moves, volatility moves that are priced into options. We should definitely do that. We got plenty coming in next week, so we should do some of that review. I know we were supposed to do that earlier this week, so that's on me, man. That's on me. I will say though, I was looking at it yesterday. 6% was the move, and well, how did we end up today? Well, we're going to take a look at that and more. Here's the good news. I did manage to make some money yesterday by holding some of those put options into today. So I'm not sure how they're going to open up, but I will say this much, knowing for a fact my strike was at $700 and we're opening at $694. So I'm going to at least be up $6 on that, but I did pay like $240, I want to say $250. I'll look at that here in a bit, but let's hop in here. We already said good morning to y'all. Appreciate you being here early. I know we're going to get some folks jumping in, but do you think we should talk about earnings a little bit? You guys down? Let me share my screen in just a moment. 1 second. Because why not? We're a little bit early today. We got plenty to cover. Hey, Rax, appreciate it. Yeah. Let's do, look, big ones to call out: IBM, Tesla, Google, ServiceNow. There's a ton, right? There are a ton, and I'll walk through some of those here in a bit. Let me see if I can get my screen to share. Hold on. You guys can see that? Let's see. Can you see that? And hey, broken clocks right twice a day, right? So guess what how's DVG feeling today? I'll tell you right now. Kind of a giveaway. Normally, markets have been this, and no, we're going bearish today, I think. I'm pretty confident, but we are going to be mindful of bounces. So you guys can see the Tesla screen. Before I do anything, for many of you, anytime we see a big move like this, if you're new to the channel, if you're new to the crew, something that I use, again, it's not financial advice, cue the disclaimer, right? Just an opinion. But oftentimes when you see big moves, especially like earnings, or maybe there's a big announcement, I have a tendency to use what's called an anchor view up. And so what I think is pretty fascinating about this is typically on that first candle move, you'll notice here's your anchored view up versus the actual view up. So this light white line is traditionally what you might see on your chart, is this anchored view up, regular view up. This is an anchored view up based on that moment in time. And so what's great about this, as an example, with Tesla, from that moment in time, notice price tried to move higher, then it got rejected, tried to get above that anchor view up, rejected, and we just never got a chance to get above it. You marry that with, again, I use the 200 to 55, 22, 12. So you notice the fan or the wave is pushing down. Obviously, if you listen to the earnings, overall, Tesla is facing, frankly, what a lot of big car companies are facing. When you try to get into mass production, you end up sacrificing margin, and you have a cheaper product with less margin in it, right? So they got rid of the S and the X models, talk about robo-taxi future maybe not looking so bright, and there's some challenges there. I would say they didn't mention the insurance side of things, but safety was what came up. So definitely spent some time listening on this Tesla earnings call and reviewing where they're at. And fundamentally, I mean, I hate to say it, they're now in a position where they're going to start to be treated like an actual car company. Do they have cool technology? Yes. Do they have more data than any car company out there? Yes. Do they have cutting edge tech that, could be used for multiple things, including the robotaxi service in the future? Yes. Is it overpriced? Well, you tell me, right? So if you'll notice yesterday, 377 was where we were at on this. I ended up trimming it up as I left in the morning, but I left the position on. I got out a little bit here and we pushed down into this like 375-ish area. So I didn't make a ton of money initially, but I held some into the close, and right before earnings, probably should have held on to a few, but I didn't. So can't say I claimed the full move, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Let's talk about Google for a moment. Yes, Vincent. Yep, Anchor VWAP. Indeed. Love that. Love that. Love that. So here's another example. Let's zoom in a bit. Google. First and foremost, guys, we're going to see this across the board. And if you'll notice, during this Google call, it's important to know how important these Mag 7 type names are. I would say two words that are going to be, or topics, we'll call it. One is going to be CapEx, capital expenditure, which if you guys are not familiar with that, Google it, what it means. Upfront, bulk payments, obviously with, accounting principles, it can be amortized a certain way, et cetera. But the point is, look, Google's spending a ton of money to build out their infrastructure around AI. Short-term, expensive. Long-term, it's the right thing to do. It's kind of like, I actually think this AI movement, for those of you guys remember, I think I maybe had mentioned this analogy before. If you remember cell phones early on, you usually get that, used to be like, hey, you get the first minute for free, but you pay for every single minute. Right now, AI is the same way. Now, these days, cell phones have unlimited minutes, and in many cases, unlimited data plans. You pay $100 or whatever it is. But AI is still kind of figuring that out, but through tokenization. Why? Because it's super expensive. They got to run it through all these data centers. If it doesn't work off one data center, it bounces to another data center. And so the idea is they're building out this infrastructure, which costs a ton of money, aka CapEx, which is why they're offering bonds and ways to lever debt to essentially help them build out this infrastructure, which they'll later, try to make it cheaper for us. But in the meantime, they're having to pay out of pocket. I say cheaper for us. That's a wink, wink, right? They're always going to find a way to make money. These companies are the biggest companies in the world for a reason, right? That said, you will see initially crazy pop and drop, right? Take out, which is funny. I can go back to where this Anchor VWAP is. I want to say it was like November, but that was during an earnings call. So it's funny now that I'm going to snap another one. You'll see, pretty important if you keep these on your chart. So let's use an Anchor VWAP. I'm actually going to use it right here. This initial, bounce back candle. Same thing. Drop below the anchored VWAP. You'll see who's in control. We took off. Then they started, like, literally it was CEO, first chat. Hey, numbers look good. Revenue looks good. Overall looks great. The second topic, I mentioned the first one, CapEx. The second topic, cash flow. This is the first time since Google has been a public company they reported negative cash flow. And the reason is because they're spending all this money in AI. That happened literally like right there. CFO jumped on, said, increase CapEx, negative cash flow, boom. Here's the good news. At the same exact time, so let's actually just, what time is it exactly? Let's see. 1658. So let's just pull up a different 1658. How about that? There are benefactors on the inverse side of this, meaning if they know that they're spending a ton of money, specifically Google, well, who else is doing this, right? Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, they're all going to likely have a same report. They report next week. So you'll actually see the benefactors, the chip names, pushed higher during that call at that exact period of time. Okay, this is why it's important to understand relationships. Now, granted, it's giving it all back just because I think markets are softening up a bit, realizing like how maybe euphoric some of this AI is because, we're spending a lot of money, etc. but it's an important thing to note, right? So if you see at that same time, let's look at 1658 again, right about here. There it is. Let me just use a vertical line for a second. Right, 1650-ish. There you go. So same thing. Amazon tanked. Right? Let's look at Microsoft. Same exact time. 1658. I'm gonna just guess by looking at it. Yep, sure enough. Boom, straight down. So granted, Microsoft reports next week. Amazon reports next week. It's a big earnings week next week. But it's important to know these inverse relationships because like AVGO at the same time went up. NVIDIA probably. Let me just take a look. I haven't even looked at NVIDIA yet. Sure enough, up. Right? Micron, same thing. Moved up. So it's just important to note like these relationships and how they're tied together. Because if Google is saying, hey, we're spending more money on CapEx, that means if they're spending more money, there's other people receiving that money, which means it's going to help their earnings and then blah, blah, blah. So goes the story, right? But the challenging thing is when I saw Google's report, it told me two things. One, CapEx, ROI, and cash flow. So I'd argue it's those three components. I mentioned two. The big two right now is CapEx, cash flow. And what Google showed was, I'd say, an eye-opener for a lot of people. So do I think we bounce maybe today, tag the VWAP 326 short? Yes, probably what I'm looking for. Do not mistake something, though. And cue the disclaimer. The importance, I'll use the cues in this example. We'll use an anchored VWAP like we always do during big events like that. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. So let's just go to here for a second. Look at that. Do you see how important that is? We drop, tag it. So if you were short here, you got hosed because we bounced up to the anchored VWAP. Then we dropped, went back to the anchored VWAP. Then we dropped, went back to the anchored VWAP. And now we've completely forfeited any level of support from these indicators. So is it possible, right? Knowing we're in the green zone, remember, I haven't updated this since we showed it last. The stoplight, we'll call it, as of the latest markets. Obviously, we break this level. It's adios amigos, right, to the downside. But we've noticed every time we've hit this green zone, look, we find some buyers. We find some buyers. We find some buyers, more buyers, right? So do we hold this level? I don't know. Not today. I mean, I'm kind of bullish, or sorry, bearish. But can we push bullish for a moment, maybe even tag this anchored VWAP for that moment in time and then turn to the downside? Possibly. Or we might just break the bottom. So like if we do this and look something like that, awesome. Knowing how these markets are absolutely like, they're more distinctive directionally and can be brutal, I have a feeling we're going to open likely to continue to the downside. So let's look at a couple others. Any questions that help, guys? Or is it like a cool story, bro? I kind of have my own way of doing things. Let's talk service now for a moment. Beat top, bottom, overall earnings look good, pushing above. Let's see, holding that 100, right? I'm always confused where you start to anchor. It's where the big move is, Mark. So you could use a 1 minute or 5. 5 is actually a little easier, especially during earnings. So like Tesla, we'll just go back to this one. Let me get rid of the anchored VWAP for a second. So let's just change this to a 5-minute chart. It's where you see the most volume peg on that discussion. Because if you go up here, like you'll end up getting your anchored VWAP will look closer to your actual VWAP, whereas you want to see where does the initial volume hit, right? So if I put it on this candle in a 5-minute, it makes it a lot easier. Yep. Well, I mean, 1 minute's usually what I like to do because if I'm trading it in that moment, right, realistically. So, and that'll change it slightly, but the 5 minutes usually pretty good. So like here's that big volume candle. And if you're watching it on a 1 minute, traces pretty well. And then if you move to a 5 minute, you'll notice a little bit wider on the gap. But this, I mean, this one was, unfortunately for Tesla, it was literally like, cool story, bro. You are now a margin-driven car business. Best of luck to us, right? All right, cool. So ServiceNow beat top and bottom. $100 is kind of a print, we'll say. I've got 99.20 as a big volume area for a long period of time. If you wanted to use an anchor VWAP, you can, but this one didn't move. In fact, people are going to get hosed likely on the on the options chain because you'll have to find where the call wall is at 103, 104, I think it was, and the put wall, which is down at 95. So you literally hit your top and bottom on both, and you're opening flat, which means people that own options are going to get hosed probably this morning. Let's see, IBM. They also reported. You'll see, not so great. Here's what I'm looking at for the next, we'll say, couple weeks. Now, granted, earnings next week will be huge. We still have more earnings calls coming in this week. I posted my watch list, guys. It's a, I don't want to say it's a soft watch list because we could bounce right off the open on names like Google, Microsoft, etc. But names like CRWV, names like CEG, OKLO, I want to maybe get in now, we'll say, for the next couple weeks in advance of not just earnings next week, but I'm hearing that there's a summit happening for nuclear energy in the DC area. So maybe we get some love on names like OKLO. OKLO right now is like $40. So it's pretty cheap. So I don't mind maybe starting to nibble here for a long-term position. Cue the disclaimer, it's not financial advice. And who knows, it might turn into a, a sell-off party. We'll see. So I'm not going to necessarily go crazy on it, but I'm going to probably start putting some money there to work for me, at least on the portfolio side. But again, the names that I'm going to be watching, I hate to say it, and you guys can pick these, right? So AMD, right? Same thing. We talked about that time where we saw the pop after hours. It didn't necessarily get as much love during that session, right? Was it 57 we were looking at? Look at nothing, pretty flat. So I want to see how AMD behaves, which just tells me people probably want to hold it up here. But if we start selling off of the market, I have a feeling that, bye. And let's see, I'll rest up here. So again, Google, I'm being mindful of Tesla, Google. You could argue WDC, AMD, ServiceNow, maybe not, but IBM. What I'm trying to be mindful of in the next, and I know we have a couple minutes before we open here. In the next couple weeks, I think quantum might start getting a little bit of a nudge. We'll see. I'm usually early to these kind of things, so who knows? I might have to suffer a little bit through that. SpaceX guys getting absolutely hammered too, based on a little bit of correlation to Tesla. I mean, look at this. Right before we open, we just dropped another 4 points. Tesla's gonna probably bleed out a bit today, and then Google with that CapEx story. Man, I really thought we'd get a push of 326 this morning, but it looks like we're opening down. So definitely trade cautiously, and welcome to the party, y'all. We got about 40 seconds before we open. Anything you guys are watching, please post your watch list. And again, I'm going to be riding solo today, so I can use all the help I can get in the chat. Please be patient. It's tough to do all of the above at the same time. And Clifton, appreciate you being there. And good morning to the rest of the crew. Okay, 20 seconds before we kick things off, y'all. Let's be cautious again. Pretty decent selling happening this morning, right out the gate. But I'll change this service now to. All right, let's look at Hood because they report next week. Let's see how Hood does today. All right, guys, markets are open. Good luck. Let's be patient here this morning. I like Tesla under 340, but it might bounce there. Let's see. Well, that was quick. 321 on Google. Let's see if that holds. It should. I'm tempted to buy some Hood today as they report into next week. But again, if markets fall off and they get completely weakened today, I don't know. The bleed out could be real. So Google might bounce here, guys. I'm looking for a bounce to 326-ish before I consider shorting it. And Tesla, just 340, bye-bye. Look at that. Oh, man, that's brutal. What to do? I suppose I could nibble on the short. I wanted it at 340, but I think it's sell time on Tesla. Yikes. Guys, getting rid of some of those options that I kept from yesterday. Starting the day with a nice big chunk of change. That's pretty cool. There's that bounce on Google, and the 326 is where I'm watching it. But let's be mindful as well on that anchor VWAP. So I'll snap here on the grid. You guys. So it could move all the way to 330-ish. You see that? 329.99-ish. Be mindful of a bounce here. Hmm. Hood. Interesting. Keep an eye on MU. No trades waiting. Yeah, same thing, Jonathan. Right on. Appreciate you pointing that out. I'll actually move that here instead of WDC. We'll put MU here. Definitely very active trade on MU as of late. Did we just do it? 324 on Google before aiming lower. I'll wait. I kind of like this dip on Hood to buy maybe for next week. Guys, Tesla's a done deal. Let's see. 338. You guys see I already have that level marked up. If we get back up above that, maybe I'll hit it for a short. We'll see. Q's getting a little bit of a bounce here off of 693.69 was the previous level I had marked. It was a high volume area. It wasn't necessarily an all-time high or anything like that. It was just a high volume area where we saw buyers. If you guys remember, I will put this back up for a moment. The green zone. Again, doesn't mean it's a guaranteed buyer that's going to buy in this green zone, but we've seen repeatedly that there are people picking it up. So I'd be surprised if we see a bounce up to, maybe up here, maybe at least to the VWAP 696, 697. But what do we do after that will be the question. So being a little cautious this morning. Well, you just popped a 324 and then you dirty dog you. And you broke 321, guys. I think Google's done. Smoke. All right, cool. Tesla bounce. Good. I like it. So we can get a little more. Here's the trouble. I'm telling you, like we can move higher and then just get slammed into the ground. So especially on a day like today, guys. Hood looks great for that long position. And I'm tempted to buy a small enough position I can hold till next week. Let's do it. That'll be my first trade, but it's a longer term one. We're in at 102.85 for Hood. 102.85. I want to see if we get some rotation. Well, there's a nice pop. I want to see if we can get some rotation out of some of these higher risk AI related names. Guys, AMD on my short here and try to get this one right for the last bit here. Guys, nice move on Hood. Okay, we're in. Oh, that's a pretty good fill. Sweet. AMD 54609. I'll take it. Let's see. Guys, nice bounce here on Hood. I'm gonna set it, forget it on that one. Actually, you know what? Let me add a little bit so I can actually make it a trade for today. I'll add to Hood. But I want to hold this one I want to at least keep some into the next week because they report 6 days. So let's see how it plays out. What else should we be looking at here? SKHY sets are going for it long over 171. Good luck. Jonathan, you're in MU short. Amazing. Guys, this Google and Tesla trade, I'm going to hit Tesla now. I'm more than happy to build it if it gets up to 340, but I have a feeling this is the forfeit area. Tesla. I don't love my fill, to be fair. Okay, though. That service now getting bashed. Wow, look at that. Wah, wah, wah. Brutal. Anything on like AMD, I've been like nibbling to add, nibbling to add, nibbling to add. You know what I mean? So just because it could easily, catch a bid to 552 again and then tank, who knows? So I don't mind being patient on some of these, more expensive stocks. Guys, Google giving up 321 is a big deal. 321 on Google, big deal. Seeing a little bounce, little love on the Qs. If you guys recall, look at this. Gonna bounce up towards that regular view up, anchor view up, sitting up here, 697. And I'm looking for a little bit of quit in the market now. Let's see. Let me put up here. What else you guys watching? I'll pull up SKHY. Okay, I like it. Cool. Uh-oh, MU getting a little love. Google getting a little bit of a maybe shorts are covering. Nice movement, SHY. Seth, congrats. All right, I'm gonna go for Tesla. 1.5 share size. Short. AMD, it's fine. Again, we're building on this one. I don't like that I'm down 4 points right now. That sucks. Well, Tesla. Don't underestimate the power of charting, y'all. I mean, look at this. At green zone, found buyers almost instantly. Again, this is kind of the bottom end of that green zone. So I wouldn't be shocked if we get a little push, maybe even up to the 200 EMA, and then, continue selling. So let's just be careful. Volume in these trades don't feel significant enough. Feels a little more like retail. But guys, this Tesla trade, I am making some dough now. Let's go. No partial. Want to see 330 at least. 4 more points. AMD guys at the close 552.33 ish. We're getting close enough. I don't like adding to losing trades, but the one way of looking at it is if capex is increasing and they're probably spending it on chips and the like. So maybe that's why we're getting a little pump here in AMD. And maybe today I'm just, I don't have to add. I could just get out of the way. But I'm watching to see what we do here. SKHY obviously getting some love. I don't love the ADR chips stocks typically, but totally get it. Definitely SKHY getting some love in the Western markets, we'll call it. I'm going to add to AMD a little bit. Adding to AMD. Tesla, guys, you know what? Well, let's go full share size right now. No partial yet. I'm adding. Let's go. Come on, Tesla. Sorry, Elon. Again, around 330 or so is where I'll take a partial. Need 3 more points. Beautiful trade so far, guys. Tesla. AMD, again, small enough position that I can afford to add some or just get out of the way, which it looks like chips might be getting some love, but I'm keeping an eye on the Qs at the moment. Google, let's see if we get that push now to 325, 326. If it does, it might actually shoot to an anchor VWAP at 327 or so, being patient on that one on the short side. Let's keep an eye on the Qs, y'all, as well. I'll just pull this up for half a second. Watching 699 as a potential pop to drop. What do I mean by that? Well, hit the green zone. Do something like this. Maybe. We'll see. I'll have to mark that 9:39 a.m. 9 minutes into the open. Trying to act like I know what's going to happen the rest of the day. Come on now. Who do you think you are, DVG? Come on, man. All right, AMD. Maybe you took my money again today. We'll see. Small enough position. It sucks to see it, but Tesla's looking great. Google, I'm going to go for it, guys. Right here. Let's start building. Does it bounce up? Maybe, but it's fine. I want to see it break 321. Problem is I know there's a ton of support there. So can it move higher from here? Yes, that's why it's a nibble to add. And AMD, guys, I'm going to forfeit that one, take a small loss there. That's okay. Looks like chips are getting some love. Hopefully, Google, again, maybe I'll be patient and wait for the pop, guys. I'll stay in it for, it's small enough that I could add, but it's already up a point. I'm going to try to be a little patient here. If it gives up 321, we should get that break to the downside. But I'm seeing the Qs trying to push. So let's take IBM off of here. Let's look around. Amazon, yeah, okay. All right, Google looking good. If we break through 321, I'm going to probably nail it for at least half share size. SNDK very strong. Yep, I imagine, like, because we talked about this earlier, Alan, like Google CapEx, and you figure Amazon, Microsoft, the rest of the gang are reporting next week, they're probably going to have a similar story. They're spending a ton of money building out this AI infrastructure. And on the one hand, it's screwing up their balance sheets because the cash flow is going down. Guys, Google, let's add. Sorry. A little more. Okay. So the benefactors are going to be the chip names, storage names to build out that ecosystem, short to midterm, right? Because if Google's spending it, Amazon's probably doing the same, Meta's probably doing the same, Microsoft's probably doing the same. So we saw that, we talked about it earlier before we opened, Alan. I don't know if you had a chance to see that pre-market, but seeing that rotation into chips actually happened the second that Google's CFO jumped on and said, hey, we're spending way more CapEx, and oh, by the way, we have negative cash flow for the first time since we IPO'd. All right, guys, this could be a little cheeky move here on the Qs. Notice the anchor VWAP. We talked about it pre-market. Green zone to anchor VWAP, maybe to 200, possibly to 699. Can we rip and take the top off? Of course. These markets have proven that the bulls love to shake things up. That said, if we get above this 200 EMA, we should get maybe some continuation, but I have a feeling we might find some rejection in and around this area. So let's just be mindful. We'll watch that closely here. All right, guys, Google. What's Tesla doing? Stop turning around, dude. What are you doing? Guys, Google. Adding, loading this thing up. I want to see a snap now to at least 315-ish, 316. Get 3 to 4 points to the downside here on Google. And it should be one big candle coming up. Kind of like this MU candle to the upside. So very nice, guys. For those of you guys got into the chip names for the long, cue the disclaimer. Remember, rule number 1 is, I won't repeat it. Be mindful of the levels. So SKHY, beautiful pop to pre-market highs. MU doing the same. AMD doing this almost the same. Almost. Let's see. What else, guys? ADVB. Didn't that IPO or something yesterday? Advanced Bio. Yeah, I mean, awesome. Love that you took advantage of it. This is just not my cup of tea. Not because of the price, but like I just don't know enough about A, the stock, B, the movement, and C, float, price action, etc. So the fact there's a 21-cent spread on a $16 stock, again, not really my cup of tea, but that's cool. No big deal. Love that you posted that, though. Yeah, no worries, Mark. All good. Love it, though. All right, so here comes Google. We should get the snap now on 320 straight down. I don't want to see any resistance. No resistance. Everybody call Goldman stonks right now and tell them stop buying Google. All right, guys, let's be mindful of the Qs. We're still in the Tesla trade. I'm waiting for 330. I want to get paid on this thing. Let's see. Again, I know the MTA, as Mark likes to call it, New York Metro map here. And you guys know what all these mean, hopefully by now. The light white one is the actual VWAP for the session that you'll probably see on your screen. The anchored VWAP I just snapped previously, right when, notice how it's a pretty good flow or indicator because every time we've tagged it, we've rejected it, right? So we came up here, we just pushed above it, hit the 200 EMA and found some sellers. Question is, do we see bulls try to do a fake out, shakeout? I don't know. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Oops. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Guys, Tesla looking great, guys. Here comes the move on Google. Beautiful. Beautiful. Took a little bit of a lump on AMD today. That's no big deal, but Tesla, man, we're getting paid. It's a big day for me on that one. 5 points. Google, you know, a couple points. I wanted it up here at 324 to 326. It's okay. I'll be patient. Let me look at how Hood's doing here. Looks fine. And I'm looking to hold that into next week, really. So look around some other random names. Costco, CEG. Yes. Quantum names, guys. Let's look at those. QBTS. Yes. All right, let's do it. I'm going to buy some QBTS and hold it. And IonQ. Let's see what that looks like today. And let's cue the disclaimer. It's more long-term. There we go. Let's do IonQ as well. Guys, I'm getting ready to take a partial on Tesla unless we get a big, big break here under 330, guys. Look at Tesla now. Let's go. Awesome. Pull up IBM real quick. No, thank you. Guys, getting ready for partial on Tesla. Getting ready. Let me load it up here. Please hold. Yeah. Alan, you're right. Amir did talk about it yesterday for sure. Guys, we're in the 330 print on Tesla. Let's see if we get a little more. As long as it stays red, I'll wait for a partial. But guys, I've got it loaded up. We're going to take 70. Actually, let's move it up a little bit. That's 70, a little under 80% of the trade-off on Tesla. Here comes Google. Guys, I wanted to see 316. Anybody take any of these trades, by the way? It's okay if you didn't. Vintage of Tesla, cool. Right on. I like the 330 print. If you guys can see it up here on the screen, we've got a little pink line of a soft volume area that I marked up before we got the party started. So you know what? 331. Yeah, okay. Took some off. Small partial. Shouldn't say small partial, but a partial no less. We still have some runners. Google, guys, 316-ish is where I'd like to be. We're almost there. Beautiful trade. And I don't know. When we talked about this, guys, I don't know if this helps you. I don't know if it's this could be short term, right? Because realistically, Trump could show up and just be like, "We're incredible," boom, liberation, and it takes off. But the power of charts, 200 EMA, anchored VWAP. Now we're at the VWAP. Now we push into the green zone. If we break the green zone, bye bye. So, kind of cool. You took Tesla and Google, cool. ARAX, awesome. Let's see if we get a little more on Google. I don't know if we'll get it right away. It should have happened like this. See these two candles here? What I wouldn't mind seeing is 3 black crows on a 1 minute. This right here, if I can just use a box, this is what a 3 black crows look like if I zoom in. Pretty close. It's pretty close. If this had a little more in the body of this candle, that'd be 3 black crows, but it's pretty darn close. The inverse of that would be what? Anybody know? Anybody? Don't Google it. If you don't know, it's cool. But if you do know it, awesome. Just understanding candles. Three white soldiers. Guys, 329 now in Tesla. Awesome. Watch out, guys. Q's getting heavy now. Real heavy. Moment of truth. Guys, Tesla, what a trade. What a trade. I mean, 325.80 is the next target I see. And it might just be a one-hit wonder, straight down, boom. What a trade, guys, Tesla. And I thought I got in late. Holy smokes. Wow. Beautiful. I mean, I hate to say beautiful to see people losing money, but you know what? We're making money in the 44 trading nation right now. Google, we're still up on the trade, but like I said, I want to see 316. Wow, what a break on Tesla. AMD now rolling over a bit. But again, I'm going to take this away just because I'm planning on holding that until next week. See what else we got. Alan, okay, cool. I mean, it's just they report next week, so we've got time. You know what I mean? All right, guys, I'm going to take a little bit more off my Tesla trade. A little bit. Wow, guys, tremendous trade. Tremendous trade. Google, what are you doing? Stop doing that. Okay, let's look at the cues for a second. Remember the stoplight, guys? It's green, yellow, red. Here's what's cool about when you do this kind of stuff. I've had these sections written up for a while now. As you guys know, we've gone through this several times. This yellow zone, meaning like, indecision. Red zone, meaning we find sellers typically up there. And then we've always found buyers down in this green zone for now. We give up that green zone. This now becomes the new red zone, AKA your ceiling, versus right now it's operating as a floor. I just call it a stoplight because I have these areas marked out for us. Don't know if that ever helps, but if it does, let me know so we share more stuff like that. Softy's a little slow. Guys, this Tesla trade, though, I'm happy. Look, if I could make 10 points on a trade, so we came in 337, and that's 10 points, 327. Anytime I can make 10 points, man, that's a huge day. You make more than that, that's a grand slam, you know? And it's so possible now these days. What the heck is Google doing? Stop doing this. Oh, SpaceX 113 print. Good call out. I'm gonna pull that up. Probably getting beat down. Yep, along with Elon. Listen, until we get there. If you guys remember, on the IPO date, I talked about 60 to 80 bucks is where I want to buy and own SpaceX long term. All that to say, some people are trying to dollar cost average up here. No thanks. I want to see how low to go. $100 now seems like it's a possibility. I don't like this Google move right now, guys. I probably should have taken a partial down here. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. But 321 I know is a big print for Google. So hopefully we do not get above 321. If we do, might have to trim out of the position. And if we get below it again, I can reevaluate. Look at this. The floor is lava. Look at that. I mean, this was, guys, I didn't like change these drawings. Look at that. You get right into that green zone. We find buyers. For now, hitting that anchor VWAP, rejection immediately. Do you see that? Do I zoom in? Let's see. Hit the anchor VWAP. Still can hang on to Google right now, but guys, Tesla, what an amazing trade. I mean, stuff like that, you don't even need to take another trade realistically. But we took a little lump on AMD. Do I want to see it roll over? Yes. Why? Because AMD is not nearly as formidable. I mean, I'm not gonna say they're a garbage company. Lisa does a great job running that company, but I mean, it was $149 a year ago. Now it's at $552. It's a little aggressive, I would say. And I think what's fascinating. So here's kind of what's cool about just knowing supply chain type data. By the way, I didn't post my IonQ and QBTS positions just because they're more long term. And even Hood, like technically that's gonna be more long term. Guys, Tesla, yes, baby. So look, if you take a look at like what's in the data centers, what chip stack is in the data centers? What memory stack is in the data centers? Do you guys know? Because if you don't, it could be a fun one to look up percentage wise. AMD is definitely one of them. NVIDIA is definitely another one. Intel's another one. But the trouble is, SanDisk was already there for like ever. Micron, similar. But it was overlooked. So what we haven't been talking about are like who's doing data center cooling. Names like VRT. What's that look like today? I didn't even have that on my radar today. Just thinking through it, right? Who's winning if all these people are spending money? Google, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, blah, 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 right? Who wins? These guys win. But at some point, when markets start to tank, which I'm kind of worried about today, guys, look at Tesla, geez. AMD is going to suffer. Some of these other companies are going to suffer because their valuations are just sky high. So that's why I've been trying to short AMD. I got stopped. Now maybe I get a second chance, another bite of the apple here. We'll see. At this point, guys, Tesla, I'm leaving those runners. I mean, I could leave 10 points on like a 10-point trailing stop. I could care less what happens to the rest of those shares. I shouldn't say that, but that's a huge trade for me. Hello, Qs. I mean, I get it. MTA chart, Mark. I know how much you love these, but anchored VWAP, we push to the 200 just to test, right? Reject, come back, literally right to the anchored VWAP, reject. Now we're in the green zone / I'm worried if this becomes the new ceiling, bulls won't be prepared for it. So if we see a big candle to the downside in the next 10 minutes that looks something like this, be careful. Cue the disclaimer. It's not financial advice. So yeah, I'm looking at names like again like VRT, CEG, VST, and what's OKLO? Maybe I'll add to my position in OKLO today. Yeah, sure, why not? I'll grab a little more. OKLO. Yes. Okay. More of a long position, so I'm not going to post it. Guys, AMD, I'm tempted to just short the heck out of this thing right now. Same with even MU. I have a feeling we will slip, fall, and we can't get up. 552. Okay. Second chance. Maybe on AMD. We'll see. Come on, Google. Stop doing this. You notice that we just peaked in that 321 for half a second. What I'm worried about is if it goes 321, boom, and then takes off to 326 and then comes back down here later on in the day. That's going to piss me off. Let's see. Michael P. Aloha, how you doing, buddy? Saying I will start averaging in on SpaceX at $100 and they turn it into swing. Okay, interesting. Okay. Shoot, I have a calculator around here somewhere for this stuff. I'd have to find it. I might have to tinker. But a long time ago, I mean, I'm sure you could probably Google it, or maybe even use AI for this now these days. But I'd put together where you can like punch in a stock price to figure out what the valuation would be. Meaning, if I think AMD is right now it's valued at $3.9 trillion. If I think it's a $2 trillion business, what would the price have to be? Right? As an example. And it would tell you. Now you can do the quick back of the napkin math to figure it out. But like I actually had a little calculator that I'd plug in for that based on real data, real float, real EPS, all that other fun stuff. So it would take into account some of the buys. Anyway, I'll have to find it. I haven't used it in like, I don't know, 4 years. Guys, Tesla just dying, man. Look at that's sad. That is really sad. Down almost 13%, guys. Yikes. And we got the bulk of it. Am I going to cry over 3 points? No. All right, guys. Final partial on Tesla in a moment if we break the 325 print again. I'm just saying that, floor is lava. Floor is lava. You see that? People trying to hold on for dear life. I want to take all hopium away from the bulls, but the bulls, man, don't underestimate their hopium, because they have a tendency to just be like, you know what, we could do it, rally this thing up, and then by the close, they're doing the exact opposite. We saw it yesterday. Think I'm kidding? Look at that. Push, 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 push. Yeah, nah, sell it into the close. So just remember, as retail traders, they call us dumb money, right? Smart versus dumb money. In the grand scheme of things, we are. The good news is, if you join 44 Trading Nation and the rest of the group and you're learning, let's just say you're not, you're getting an edge on them, which is good. Obviously, we don't have trillions of dollars in systems, but we do have an amazing crew of traders, like-minded traders, looking around, scoping different stocks. This Google trade, come on, man. That's too bad. There goes the push on AMD. All right, okay, well, cool. Let's see, guys. What else? You have SK Hynix. You have, help me out here, guys. MU made your day, Christian. Cool, man. I had that up there on the chart there. Awesome. I'm trying to figure out where's the money going to go to next. Energy, sure. I don't know if you guys remember, we were buying XLE a long time ago. Well, not terribly long ago, but again, more of a long-term thing. All right, final partial Tesla. Good stuff. NOW, okay, I'll pull it up here. Yeah, over the 95 maybe, because that's where it closed. The trouble is, like, literally it hit the top and bottom of its option chain. Like on the volatility side of things, it was expected, I think it was like 5.25% either direction. So you just, put there on the top bottom, your 10%. So it's just it could be range bound. It's the only trouble I have with that. So, I mean, can it take off? Sure. I hope it does. It looks like you're thinking going long, Seth. Big push now, MU, guys. Big push. I'll get rid of OK low. That's just longer term. What else am I thinking though? Oh, data center stocks. Where's Mark at? GLW. Yeah, Mark, I like the fact here comes Google finally. Jeez, I was worried about that. I like that you're looking at sectors as indicators. So I'll leave this chart up here for a second. But like I do the same thing, and this is like I'll look at IWM, as you guys remember, 288. You know what sucks though is they expired tomorrow, and I was out by like Monday, so I missed this big push to the downside. Shoot, that's cool. Still got paid on it. IWM is an indicator. USO as an indicator. Oops, if I could spell for oil, because they're correlated almost as an inverse to markets as of late. Not always, but as of late for sure. So higher oil goes, lower equities go. At least there's a decent correlation. And if you guys ever want to test that out, guys, glad we got paid on Tesla. I could care less what happens to the last shares. Like 332, fine, I'll get out. I'm still waiting for my partial on Google though. Please. Actually, let me wait here before I move over. At this point, I mean, I've made my money for the day. We took a little lump on AMD this morning, but I could care less. I mean, Tesla, dude, I'm a massive, huge day for me, guys. Huge day. And whatever Google prints at this point, just I'm happy, right? Let me see if we get a break here. 316 was the target price. We low of session as of right now, 317.91 on Google. And if the floor is lava, guys, the bulls need to step up sooner. This candle's going to get violent here. In fact, let's get some bundles on the cues, and I will target 689. What's that? Oh my God, why are they so expensive? No, I was looking at the wrong strike. 690. Let's do 690 strike. Go. Start with a bundle. So I say a bundle, guys, if you're new to the room, that is 10 contracts for options. In this case, puts to the downside. Target strike price at 690, expiration tomorrow. A lot of times they'll use options just as a hedge. Most institutional traders do the same thing, but longer term. Usually third week of the month, third Friday of the month is typically where we see the highest level of order flow on options. Why? Just because that's how it's always been for a long time for institutionals, but now they have dailies, weeklies, that's new. That's new for retail traders and for them to help make money in the in-between. Anyway, I digress. Guys, did you see that break now? I missed my 552 entry on AMD. Is it too late? What do you guys think? Second bite of the apple? Question mark. No way, Seth. No way, man. I wish. Getting there, though. I mean, I shouldn't say getting there, but growing it. Trying to. Anyway. One other thing too is I try not to take on, long term. If and when using margin, I don't hold it for 3, 4, 5 days. Some people do, and that's how you could either make a ton of money or lose a ton of money. But anytime you're using margin, oftentimes you'll have to pay for that service. I try to get in, get out, so that that's never an issue if I ever have to use margin. Tomorrow, Alan. It's just quick. I'm looking for like a one-way trip. So sometimes because a couple things. Are you looking for 1,000 on it, Mark? I can see it. Literally, 1,020 is up on this anchored view op, which I think came from its highs. I could pull that back and find out, but 1,020 is up there. Let me pull up SKHY. Yeah, I'm tempted to hit AMD again, man. I really, really want to see that thing get back to like $300, but what do I know? Sorry, let's see. Alan, UG for puts. Yeah, so okay. I almost, oh, man, we don't usually talk options here, but look, IV matters. The Greeks matter. We've talked about this a few times. But if you don't understand the Greeks, spend some time with that. But the big thing is like I don't want to be on the wrong side of theta decay, especially on a 1 day DTE. I don't usually do same day, not usually. Have I? Sure, but if it moves, let's just pull it up here because I have it on another screen. I always have my Qs and SPY on another screen. It's like locked. Some of you have asked. I have two 49-inch curved wide monitors. They're like S9 or O9 Odysseys or something like that. I don't know what the hell these things are called. And then I've got like a 29-inch screen vertically where I have like fixed stocks, meaning SPY, Qs, etc. And I'm thinking about getting rid of that screen because it's just, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff. It's like a cockpit in here. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of screens in my face. But I want to say if you're buying puts, you're on the wrong side of theta. Depends. Yeah, like there's so many different option strategies buying, whether buying calls, selling puts, directionally, selling calls, buying, you know what I mean? Like part of the reason I don't like to bring them up just because there's so many ways you can use options, I would say more intelligently versus trading them as a directional like a naked direction, But oftentimes I'll use them just as like either a hedge or a multiplier. Meaning, in this case, if I think markets are going to break floor's lava, like this green area, it needs to be one direction. Like if it starts moving against me and gets above that anchor view up, no thanks, I'll dump it. So it's like meaningless at that point. Yeah, I always say like the best way if you're learning options is to learn how to collect premium. Is probably we'll say the safest way, but it's butterflies, collars, iron condors. There's a way you could like, if you put up $1,000 and you've got to trade like a 15% range on a given stock and you still manage to make $600 and all you got to do is trade within that range. It's not a bad way to make money. But we don't typically do option strategies here. Maybe in the future. It's not right now. Guys, Google, if we don't get the 316 right now, I'm going to have to trim up. And I missed my 552 entry on AMD short again. Shoot. But that's okay. Google. Pay me, Google. Pay me, Google. New low. What else, guys? What else? What are we watching? AMD is going to report in 2 weeks. By the way, I was looking at this today. Year to date, MU up 235%. Boom! AMD up 151%. NVIDIA, on the other hand, 9%, almost 10%. WDC up 214%. Marvell up 145%. Like, for some perspective, guys, oh, by the way, here's VRT on the cooling side of the data center, up 83%. Like, let's not forget, if you make 5 to 6%, 7% a year, like you did well. Like that's the cyclical average. I think that's changing now with the level of inflation that we have and what people expect on returns now. Probably closer to 11 and 12%, like in 401ks and what have you. But even then, think about it. Let's just call it 10% for sake of argument. If you make 10% on your money, that is like you crushed it for the year. These stocks have gone up 565% for SanDisk. Dude, are you kidding me? At the current rate, like it's 10x, man. I said that tongue in cheek, 10x. I think you guys hopefully know what I'm referencing. 10x. 10x. You got 10x that. But let's look at what happened in the day. If you guys ever want to, like, midday, hey, where's the money moving? Again, this is where obviously the conflict in Iran continuing, getting actually more serious, more vicious, potentially. So money flowing in there, no surprise. Money flowing to, interestingly, some production manufacturing. Interesting. I don't know why Lam Research is considered that, but okay. I'm surprised that Lilly held its price as well as it did with all that news that was coming out, but interesting. But I use this. How many guys use this even midday? Like looking at a heat map. Do you guys ever do this midday and just go, hey, where's money moving in or out of? Or do you usually just look at it once in the morning and then never again during the day? Or at all. It could be that too. Sometimes, but not every day. Oh, okay. It's a good way to just, even in the morning, every day before we kick things off, I'll start here, then I'll look at my scanners, figure out what's what. Usually things over 10 billion, just to see where we're at, what the level change is, sort top and bottom, kind of get an idea of where money's moving. All right, that's the fifth time AMD 552 missed. Shoot. You like CRWV for a long here, says Seth. Let's look. I had that on the list, I think. Yep. Yeah, this is again going back to like this pop. Where's money moving? Like NBIS, probably another probably been a factor of it. Yep. Guys, Tesla at this point, like if I see anything like $310, that'd be crazy. Let's see. The chips will fall. Too much FOMO. I have been short for 2 months since 1100. Michael, you talking about on MU? Yeah, looks like that's what you meant. Well, the trouble is they might have just one more pump in it. Maybe. And the reason I say that is we'll find out next week. If Microsoft tells the same story, CapEx, reduced cash flow, that money is moving somewhere, and it's not a small chunk of money. It is billions and billions and billions of dollars. So who's receiving that? The chips, the data center names. Again, I'm looking at like VRT, Corning. There's so many in those build outs. And then if you look at even like John Deere, I think the big reason why they're getting some love today and yesterday is you need tractors to build out and move the earth to build the data centers. I'd argue probably concrete is on that list as well. So just again, if you start thinking about like what do you need? You need electricity. So what, like, what we didn't talk about? Texas Instruments reported. Surprised to see it down. Beat top and bottom. But that was an interesting one. Appreciate AREX the alert and 552 on AMD. I love it. I don't know if I want to take another bite of the apple up there because chips might get that last little oomph if they go, look, Google did it, Microsoft will probably do it, and then if Amazon does it, now you've got the trifecta. Everyone's spending all this money. Where's it going? But then the real question is, I think by the time that information's out, it's just, I mean, I don't want to say it has to be baked in the price, but guys, how is AMD and Nvidia and Apple and worth trillions of dollars, okay, across the board? And I just looked like right now, so AMD is actually 899 billion. I think I maybe said 2 trillion. I was probably looking at something else. So yeah, if it's at 900 billion at 552 a share, doing the math to figure out like what does that actually mean when it's a $300 billion business. That's still a massive business, but a lot of these companies are getting funded by debt service. So does it actually make it worth that much money? Question mark. I don't know. Is the idea we just keep borrowing our way into growth? Sure. Until you have to report, and luckily right now we're reporting good numbers. But when you see Google report in the first time for what 20 some odd years they've been in business, first time ever negative cash flow, that should open up, the eyes of people going, wait a minute. Let's just say if Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta are the banks and they're running out of money for these projects, I don't know. Sounds like it could be an issue. We'll see. Guys, Tesla's just smoked. Absolutely smoked. I still got my little baby position left. Just letting it run. And I'm waiting for Google. 316, guys. If we don't break into there like in the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna have to trim this thing up. Okay, let's do it. AMD guys nibble. Oh, that's so gross. No way. What is that? Oh, that's terrible. Here you go. Hey Rex. This is the fill I ended up with. That's the downside of slippage with market orders. Darn it. We've got our puts. We got everything pretty much aiming lower, guys. Tesla, just a monster trade for me today. Google approaching my profit target zone. 316 print anywhere. I don't care if it's 316.92. I don't, whatever it is. I just want to see it break into that 316 print. If we get more than that, awesome. But I'll take a partial there just because I don't want to sit around and wait all day. As you guys know, I like to get in and get out. And if I can leave some positions on, like Tesla at this point, like whatever that prints, it prints. I don't really care. Guys, here comes Google. There's that 316 print. Let's see if we get a little more drag. We'll see. What I'm watching on the sideline, by the way, floor is lava. Floor is lava. So please, bulls, stay away. Do not do that. I want to see that. Straight down, please. Make it easy for me, would you? All right, guys. Google. I took a tiny trim off of it earlier. But I'm going to take an actual partial here in a moment. AMDC. You little something. All right, guys, here it is. 316 print on Google in 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Partial. I'd say a pretty good day. AMD though, it's we took a lump on it. Now it's such a small position that we'll see. Thanks, Clifton. Appreciate it. Yeah. Tesla though, the monster trade of the day, guys. Approaching 15 points in a moment. Guys, Microsoft falling off as well. Let's see if we get it. AMD, come on. Redemption. Be careful, guys. Keys are getting real heavy now. Real heavy. Think I'm kidding? Look at this. $69321 is the low of session today. And if we snap that, could be problematic. Let's see. Don't, Christian. Did you get paid on it? And this is what it is. All good. Never be afraid of taking your money, man. Yep. I mean, I was targeting. I really wanted 10 points, but I'm like, look, I'm gonna take it incremental. Give me 5, 6, or 7. That's a win. If I get 10, great. Now we're, if I kicked myself for not just holding it the rest of the day, maybe I wasn't able to move around and grab other stocks or whatever, which technically you don't need them, but I don't know. My reminder is 4K a day is $1 million a year. And I remember there's a time like 4K a day is like, give me $40 a day and I'd be happy. 40 turned to $400 a day to $1,000 a day to, you know what I mean? It's all proportional. And I'm human. Sometimes bad habits can come up. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but I had a red day a couple days ago, and I was on the verge of potentially a red day yesterday. We got lucky on some of the put options. I managed to hold those in today, which really helped opening up the way we did. But those were $700 strikes, and held a few into today, and it printed real nice this morning. But I don't know. It's more of like a risk thing. Like, so even for now, like, I don't know, you guys been hearing me, I'm adding some stuff into like longer term portfolio positions. And I say longer term, I could get at them in like 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a week. I don't know. Which you could argue is more of like a swing. But for me, I'm trying to grow as far as just my overall style. And like I said, I have a tendency, at least from what I've noticed, like, again, I went through my journal and I actually used AI, which is pretty cool. So I don't know if you guys, if you're not journaling, I highly recommend that you do. Cue the disclaimer, it's your money, it's your life, do what you want. But if you're trying to treat this as a profession, it's important to note like what you're doing throughout the day. And what I'm using now is like AI to help when I actually am typing in my journals. I used to just use like OneNote, stuff like that. And then I was like, okay, let's upgrade to like an actual tech so you can figure out where you enter, where you exit, connect it with your brokers, all that fun stuff. But then like I have notes at the end of the day, at the end of every session or the end of every day, I try to go in and like figure out what's happening. Well, I took all those notes, put it in AI, and then figured out what's happening. And it was really cool because it was the one that noticed, hey, you have a tendency to be ahead of certain calls like this, that, like on some of the positions or whatever. So now I'm trying to inspect it going, okay, let's see if I can actually take advantage of it, but like not risk everything, just try to get in front of it. So like you guys remember the XLE call, Rocket Lab at the beginning of the year, was it the rate trade, Rocket Lab, Alphabet, Tesla, and ENPH. And so like getting into those positions when they were pretty low and then being able to benefit from them, like as they move up, like I wasn't looking to get 3,000% of my money on them. Right. But just like, let's see. And the idea was, hey, Rocket Lab until the IPO of SpaceX maybe gets bought up and that's what happened. So I got to take advantage of that, which was cool. But I'm trying to grow constantly as a trader, constantly. Yeah, MU about to hit kiss 1,000. Did you go for it, Mark? Mark's talking, whispering sweet nothings to MU right now to kiss the 1,000. Meanwhile, I'm in this little mini short AMD position. So look, tell you what, if you get your 1,000 and I lose on my AMD trade for the second time today, that's okay. I want to make sure you get paid first, man. You scalp $2, cool, man. Christian thought, yeah. Guys, AMD. If AMD gets a rug pull, let's look around real quick. Nvidia, like, does that look bullish to you, guys, on Nvidia? Like, I'm more looking at names like this. VRT. Like, I need to figure out. I'm actually gonna deep dive into this. I know I did a while ago. Do I have a watch list on this on my data center? I think I created one for data center. Where did I put that? Come on, UG, get it together. Shoot, I'll have to find it. I put a data center watch list together. So like I know for sure VRT is on there, and I know CEG is on there. I want to say it was like was Emerson. Let me see, GE maybe. No, it's aerospace. Oh, come on, that's gonna drive me bonkers, guys. Yeah, look, Mark and Christian, I love it. Yeah, Christian talking about like, hey, MU already hit $1,000 at 9:46 a.m. And Mark's like, yeah, I know. I wanted to see it do it again. Over there, whispering sweet nothings. Saying internet went out, and I even have Starlink as backup. Either work. Gave back some. Ah, bummer. Well, this is I think, what was it, Alan? So again, when I talk about the bundles, I use them as a hedge. It feels more like, I hate to say it was like casino chips when I'm doing naked calls or puts on the queues. And I call them bundles just because I'll buy them in, usually 10 contract increments. Sometimes I'll do 5, but like, if I start doing like 1 or 2, it doesn't really matter unless I'm trading like futures contracts and stuff like that, then it's different story. But typically like on the queues and the SPY, what I do like is a lot of times, I mean, granted, it's gotten a lot more expensive as of late, but they're pretty, I'd say, fairly priced, comparatively speaking. On a name like today, when you have VIX up, you're going to eat some of the IV. I mean, even yesterday with earnings and stuff, like things were a little elevated price wise, but comparatively speaking, because if I look at something like an AMD, if you go look at that options chain, there's usually a ton of premium stacked directionally. And it's getting harder to do that, we'll say, on the naked side of things, because of A, the premium, and B, the Greeks, when market makers are making those moves. So I'm a little more cautious using options on like one-off names, just because retail traders have a tendency now to move that way into that segment. So therefore they can get away with charging more. And then if you don't know what you're doing, you can get hosed if that premium is stacked. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever traded options, and let's just say you bought a, I don't know, $5 option, which would be like $500, right? For one contract. And then the stock moved directionally in your favor. Let's say you had a call and it went up, and it went up $3, but your option only went up 30 cents. There's a reason for that, right? And in some cases, you might even lose money on them. So, especially, I don't know if you guys remember the whole like GameStop, whatever nonsense, all those big meme names. There were a lot of retail traders buying $19 call options on GME when it was like $30, which is super expensive. And then they woke up the next day and got lucky because then they were priced at 200, $200 an option or whatever. A lot of people made a ton of money that way, which is, hey, good for them. But that normally wouldn't work out in a given trade because you'd have to at least, let's just say the price was at $40. You have to get up to at least, if your strike was, let's say current price is $40 and you're paying, let's say $1,900 or $19, the stock would have to print close to $60 just to break even by expiration. So that's a ton of premium and people were paying it. So again, I'm not hating on the folks that made a ton of money doing that stuff. I think it's awesome that people were able to do that, but it's also dangerous if you learn some bad habits in the process using options and didn't understand the mechanics. But I say that tongue in cheek, cue the disclaimer, it's not financial advice, but there's getting a pop here on the Qs. Speaking of put options, I might have to trim these up. That's a pretty nice bullish engulfing candle. We're seeing that across the board, guys. This is why I like to pay myself first. I don't care that Tesla's moving now. I don't care that Google's moving now. I got locked in my profits, man. So Christian, going back to what you talked about, darn, I wish I would have held. You never know, man. You might get a candle like this that puts you not out of business, but out of profit for sure if you're not careful. So I like to use my rule number one, which is pay yourself first. Some of you guys might have your own version of that or a set of rules that you follow or abide by, but that one's an important one for me. I'm human. Every once in a while, I'm like, oh darn, I wish I would have held on to this so I could have made more money. But Mark's talking about, don't remind me. I sold covered calls and gave away thousands. If you care to share a little more on that, that'd be awesome. Mark. Now you're just watching on the paper side, so I don't give back anything. What does that mean? What do you mean, Christian? You're just kind of eyeballing, hey, maybe I'd take a trade here, maybe I'd take a trade there? Or what do you mean by that? Paper? I'm not sure. Alan, Mark owe me too. Yep. AMC or GME paper. So Mark, you bought the underlying and then sold the premium on your options and then got smoked? Yep. Okay. So you had 50 contracts then? Yeah. Okay. Well, so Christian, here's the deal. You do what you want, right? But in a moment like this, a couple questions. Did you make money today? Would be question one. Number two, do you lock out your account, meaning shut it down? Because when you say paper trade, okay, cool. Made money, but not what I would have held the shares. Yeah, exactly, Mark. I got you, man. You're talking about GME, right? Or AMC, one of those. Either way, I mean, those things, who knew, right? Like, that was a, I actually think, here's again, this is not even cue the disclaimer, cue the conspiracy theorist component of this, but I think that mechanical failure allowed like markets to be more fluid, but highly, like way more constricted to ensure that the house doesn't lose again. So when we start talking about, 24/5 trading or whatever they're trying to do now, right? So that it follows essentially like what crypto does. You can trade it around the clock and then you need like an hour for maintenance. And they're trying to do that for equities. Now they have partial shares right? And they're creating new variations or derivatives. In fact, because we officially got rid of the penny, technically the pennies exist in your bank account, right? But now they've added tens and hundreds thousands on the back end of a share price because they want to be able to give partial shares, fractional ownership on whatever name for people that don't have as much capital. But the idea behind it is now you can incrementally tweak the margin in your favor by doing these things. And I think that AMC and GME with those gamma squeezes that happen specifically around the options chain, it gives now market makers more flexibility and more certainty, but more volatility. Meaning, why is it that we could see a stock go up 2, 3, 4, 500%? And market valuations being the way they are, and returns. I mean, when have you ever seen returns? You know, like when I look at my 401ks from like back in the day, like last year, I think I made, I don't know, 20 some odd percent. I'm like, how the hell did that happen? Like I didn't even touch it, just left it there. You know, that's not normal, but it's cool at the same time. And I think a lot of the reason I say it's cool is as AMD finally working too. I think it's cool because more people are learning about A, the markets, B, the mechanics of how it works if they're diligent about it. And I think it's a good thing. Like we all work so hard to make your money, right? Whether you're at a 9 to 5 day job, night job, 3 jobs, 2 jobs, whatever you got to do, you know, spouse or partner working jobs, you're combining income, you do what you got to do, right? And then wake up one morning and get smoked. Like that's not cool. You know, so versus like I remember during like COVID, I had bought some put options, and we'll say COVID happened, and I had sold, I don't know, I want to say like 40% of my portfolio, like maybe like a week or so, 2 weeks before, and for me, it was just trimming up my portfolio at the time. And then, well, I think it was like March 23rd, I want to say. I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to buy this dip. And it worked out. And I keep in mind, when I say that, if you go back to that time, I'm telling you, the one that got away from me was Bloom Energy. I bought it at $3.03. It bottomed out at $3. And I ended up selling that thing for like $7, I think, $6-7. And I thought I was like, dude, I doubled my money. Woo! Yeah, awesome trade. It went to like $400 or something, $300. Obviously it's been 6-7 years later, but point is, the coulda, shoulda, woulda. I don't know. I've got a separate bucket of money that does that. Just set it, forget it. But trading is cool, I think. Because it's almost like instead of clocking in at a 9 to 5, you can go make $500 in 10 minutes, lose $500 in 10 minutes. But you start getting good at it. I mean, make some money and bounce. So anyway, Marco seems like a long time, doesn't it? I remember. I feel like COVID just had, like, it wasn't too long ago, but when you look at it, it's like 6 years ago now. It's crazy. Time flies, man. Guys, AMD looking great. I officially have made my money back on AMD. Yay! So we are firing on all cylinders right now. Q's looking good too. In fact, I'm going to trim up a little bit on these. Take advantage of that. Let's leave. I'll leave. I don't know. What do you guys think? At 10 right now. Should just take 5. Nah, I'll take 7 if we crack right now on the Qs. Let's pull that up. Look at that. Yes. All right, we'll take 7 off. We'll leave 3. That's a decent trade. Reason being, we're coming up on 11 o'clock. Time is going by way too fast. I was telling one of my grandsons the other day, you're too big for me to pick up anymore. Oh, Mark. I can tell you're a family man, huh? That's cool. Yeah, actually, couple things. So I have uh, my nephew hit his growth spurt, and first of all, I had totally forgot he's like 12 years old now. I'm like, how did that happen? And he's almost 6 foot tall already, and I'm like, what happened? You were like 4 foot nothing the last time I saw you. Time flies, man. Mark, I'm not going to read that one out loud. Yeah, ironically, I've got like a mixed genetic pool. Like a lot of people in my family are like really, really tall, and then on the other side of my family, really, really short, and I'm like right in the middle. It's like some of my other family members that are like super tall. I'm like a little bit jealous because I'm like, why couldn't I just like 5 more inches would have been awesome. Like 6'5", 6'4", 6'5" would be kind of cool. Oh well. Guys, we are heading lower. We are in position. AMD looking great. If you notice, we haven't moved this line. We haven't drawn this line out of nowhere. It has been there for a while. 544.65, y'all. 544.65 is a big volume area for a while. If we crack that, maybe we get an actual sprint to the downside, take out those low sessions at 542. And if we do, great. If we don't, great. I'll probably take a partial on some of this here because directionally, everything I have right now is still aimed at the downside. Google to the downside, Tesla to the downside, AMD to the downside, Qs to the downside. So right now we are printing cash, which is a good position to be in. Hopefully you guys were able to take advantage of today. I appreciate each one of you for posting A, your trades, B, some commentary because riding solo today. So appreciate that, y'all. And hopefully it was insightful, at least based on earnings. Again, we've got more earnings to come, so it's not over yet. Let's be mindful of that. In fact, where the heck did I put? Where'd you go? Here we go. Give me 1 second, guys. Let's look at. So today, after the close, oh man, there's so many. Let's see. I'm just kind of screening a couple of them. SAP, sure. Intel reports today after the close. RHI, whatever. SLM, whatever. Interesting. There's a few tonight. I don't know if you guys saw American Airlines get smoked in earnings. No surprise there. Bad report and gas prices going up. Yikes. Guys, look at Tesla now. We need to cue the bye song. Wow. That thing is adios amigos. Let's see. Before the market open tomorrow, Charter could be interesting. If you guys remember, Verizon got pulled out of, what was it, the Fortune 100 maybe? Or not Fortune 100. It was one of those indices. It was recent too. Charter got pulled out of it a long time ago. So fear there is with the rising space war, we'll call it, for connectivity. You got things like SpaceX coming out with their broadband solutions. Meta is doing the same. I don't know, man. Companies like Charter and Verizon, while they might own the network that they've laid underground, now that we're doing over the air transmission of data at a level the likes of which we've never seen, actually, those companies could be at risk big time, regardless of the coupon. Let's see next week. Cue the disclaimer, guys, of course. I actually think next week's going to be the most interesting week, even for my portfolio, to be honest. Visa reports, Ford reports, UPS reports, UBS reports, CCJ reports, CVX reports, Exxon reports, Amazon, MSTR, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, Hood, Carvana, Qualcomm, Lam Research, Starbucks. I mean, next week is going to be a freaking smoke show of a week, in a good way. As traders, we can take advantage of the move up, down, left, or right. And if you haven't looked at next week for earnings, I would suggest you spend some time because, Christian, like we've been talking about, it's a good way to kind of keep an eye on what is the projected move, what is maybe a couple stocks that you want to keep an eye on next week, because there's a myriad of stuff, right? Caesars Entertainment, Tilray, if you're into that thing, Chipotle, which I think I might go to Chipotle for lunch today. We'll see. It's either that or maybe go down by the water somewhere. Depends on the weather. Got to go pop my head out and see if we get some interesting weather around here lately. Super hot and muggy. Then it's raining and humid, and then it's freezing cold. So it's bizarre. Speaking of Bloom Energy, they also report next week. So yeah, spend some time, guys. Check out next week. It's a pretty action-packed week as well. With Microsoft on Wednesday. So Microsoft, Meta, Hood is Wednesday, along with Qualcomm, Chipotle, Carvana. Let's see, fine. Then Apple's on Thursday with Amazon after hours. So again, the rest of the Mag 7, we'll say, is coming in hot next week. And well, we see what's happening today. Getting smoked. Guys, AMD. Anybody take that? ARAX, did you join me on that thing? Jay, what about you? ARAX, awesome. Sweet. I'm actually going to take some off right here on AMD. Let me see. Where are you? There you go. Okay. You're short MU. Cool. Right on. The only reason, I mean, you guys know I shorted MU a while ago. We made some dough on that. Mega day on an ME trade. Point wise, it's just if I were to hit this thing full share size, it, smoke what I got to trade with in one trade, which on a 40-point move, it's a little too rich for me, to be fair. But that's okay. So I'll usually find alternatives like AMD, still pretty expensive, but like Nvidia. The only trouble I've had with Nvidia as of late is typically the big moves are in the after hours. So you'll notice we're at 214. Now we're open at 207. But during the day, we're not usually seeing that same level of movement with a couple of days of exception, right? Normally, it's like, look at this, just chopping around within a couple bucks. So when you're looking at your trading range and you see, 2-3 points, and then you see a day like yesterday for 7, you give it all back, like that sucks, So I used to trade Nvidia like every day. Now it's like, Well, I took here, Christian, where you at? Took a little bit of those put options here on the Qs a little too early, I suppose. I'm kidding, man. Don't feel guilty for making money, man. We're coming up on 11 o'clock, guys. At this point, we've taken partials on everything. Rule number 1, in my book, pay yourself first, guys. Tesla, honestly, guys, I don't care. Like it could go to $300. I mean, who knows? I'll leave what I've got left there. I'll probably trim up a tiny bit more. With Google, I'm a little bit worried that we're hovering this 316, 317 area, which is kind of where I thought we would at least try to bounce. And now that we are, I'm going to probably take, in fact, let me do that. Just so I don't have to worry about it. I can walk away and go enjoy my Chipotle. Let me see. Google, there we go, taking it off. Already took a partial in AMD, already took a partial in the put options. Now it's literally like I'm gonna figure out how much I want to risk or potentially give back and set it and forget it. So what's cool is like on a name like Tesla, I could literally put 15 point as a trailing stop on it and still make money. Well, 14 points. But look, today, I'd say we crushed it. Hopefully some of you guys were able to take advantage of it. Let me just can we, I don't know, it's Clifton, could you run a quick poll for the crew? We'll say very green, green, red, or very red. How do we do today, guys? Seth, done today also. Need to see a green day every once in a while. Won't be on tomorrow, so good luck. Right on, Seth. Appreciate you being here, man. What did you crush today? What was the trade you knocked out of the park? Steve, very green, awesome. You want CRWB and now, service now. Long. Awesome. Awesome. Nice job, Seth. Appreciate that. Oh, SKHY. Okay, cool. That's all good. And then Steve, what did you roll with? Christian, MU, and Tesla. Sweet. Very cool. Goog, Steve, cool. I imagine to the downside. Hopefully, I don't know. Let's do this quick scalp on it, right? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right on. I think Arex, you took AMD, right? Did you end up grabbing that 552? You're out. Cool. Right on. Awesome. 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 Well, look, we're running up on the time usually. I'm out of here. But look, guys, seriously, thank you for the patience. Thank you for this community. I mean it. You guys are great. I want to grow this thing. Like you guys have no idea. It was kind of a dream of mine. So being able to do this every day is pretty cool. I want to be able to teach more and more people if possible, or at least, you know, share a perspective and opinion, right? This isn't financial advice by any means, but you know, if you grew up and you didn't learn about money and there's an opportunity to learn about money, we've got a cool group of people that share their thoughts, their ideas, even some of the blunders that we've made along the way over the years. And there's a lot to be learned from that. And to have this opportunity to have a community as cool as you guys, it's pretty awesome. So appreciate y'all. We'll see you tomorrow at the Open. Hopefully we'll have a full house tomorrow. I think actually full house will start next week because Scott will be back. He's enjoying his time with some family. And yeah, glad to see y'all knocked it out the park. If something comes up, if you guys ever want to ping me, you know where to find me. But you guys have an awesome day. Cheers. God bless.